giving into it. I'm living in it, embracing all the pain. Can't run from it, I can't numb it. I won't medicate. I'm still learning and growing.
All right, all right, all right. We are on the live right now. Man. We are on the live. I can't believe we are on the live already. We are on the live. So I think you are joining us. Just hit the like button right now. If you are also uh, just being there just for hanging out, I want you to hit the like button and just share the stream as much as possible on all your uh, social groups, your Facebook, your Instagram, your YouTube, your everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You know where you are. I just know a few, so just make sure you hit the like button. I already see one like, and I just need you to hit and share so that we can get more people on the live as we proceed with our show today. We have a wonderful show planned out, and I believe it's going to be a nice one. So before we head to exactly what we're going to talk about, as we always do, we do our what do you call it? Our weekly tips, right? So we're gonna go on to our weekly tips for weekly health tip for the week that we have just begun. And today, I actually drew this inspiration from our guest about the weekly tip, and we just want to highlight a few things about intermittent fasting. I think there are a lot of information, a lot of pieces of information out there that we already know about intermittent fasting, and we want to encourage you this week if you can do. We just came out of a regular fast, beginning of the year fasting in our church. So if you could tell in the potholes in my face, you could see that I missed some pounds right there, right? All right. But we want to harness the importance of intermittent fasting for your health needs. And I'm actually going to allow our guests to talk about it too, just for a few minutes before we go into our main point of discussion today. And the benefits of intermittent, maybe a couple of benefits, And so I'll just give one, and then I'll probably just introduce her to say a few before the regular show. If you are able to do regular intermittent fasting, you are able to lose weight. So those of you who are struggling with weight loss, maybe you should harness the strategy of intermittent fasting, because that's going to make you able to lose weight. All right. On the easier path, I mean, I'm saying easier because it will make you lose the weight easier, but it's going to be hard on you because you're going to be starving a little bit, right? So it's not really easy, but it's an easier way out if you want to lose weight. So definitely check that out. And also, if you are diabetic, it's going to help you be able to improve on your blood sugar levels. It's going to make you able to modulate your levels if you practice intermittent fasting. But without doing all the talk on it quickly, I just want us to invite our guest, because she is actually doing a project on her live show, on her channel, about intermittent fasting, and she can use that opportunity to also invite our guests, our viewers and our subscribers to practice that. So even though we haven't started today's show, I just want to introduce to you our guest, and she is in the person of Mrs. Salome Adomakon. Mrs. Salome Adomakon. And she's a nurse by profession, and she happens to also be a functional nutrition certified person. So she is able to harness the use of information to help you lose weight. If you have any issues about weight loss and health, you can also visit her channel on Ezra Wellness on YouTube. But this time, before we talk about our main subject for today, she's doing something on her channel beginning, I think, this week about intermittent fasting. So, as we want to say, it is something we want to promote this week as as a health tip. I want to have her actually chime in on that before we go straight to our show. So, welcome to Dayspring Life and Health. This is not your first time anyway. So, those of you who have been following, we did a show on diabetes. We did one on erectile dysfunction. So we're gonna keep doing stuff together. So, Mrs. Salome Dumako, welcome to Dayspring Life and Health on the Life and Health Show.
Wow. Thank you, Doc, for having me one more time. Thank you.
All right. So yes, this week our health tip for this week is the benefits of intermittent fasting. I just said two. Would you want to throw in maybe one or two more, and then introduce what you're doing on your channel about this a strategy for health?
So, like you said, that intermittent fasting is one of the easiest ways to lose weight. And I would say also to maintain the weight that you've lost. Because most of the time, losing weight is not that hard, but the maintenance, that is what a lot of people struggle with. Because when you calorie restrict, it gets to a point that your basal metabolic rate will decrease to compromise whatever you are bringing in. But intermittent fasting had proved that when you intermittent fast, you actually increase it, your basal metabolic rate because of all that hormonal changes that goes on in the body. So that is why it's one of the best ways to lose weight and also maintain the weight that you've lost. And another thing that I will also say that most people, when they lose weight, especially those who have gone through surgery, like the bariatric surgeries to lose weight, you see they have a lot of sagging skin. And those are all dead tissues that is either you get rid of them through surgery or things like that. But with intermittent fasting, when you do it and you lose weight, you see that you don't have those complications of the sagging skin because the body eats those kind of dead cells up in a process called autophagy. So let's say you have a lot of skin sagging in some places and you're looking to get rid of it. Intermittent fasting could also help to get rid of that. And intermittent fasting has also proved for longevity. So if you're looking to live long, which we are all praying that we live long, and I know today our topic, you're going to go into that, but we are praying that we live long. And if you're looking to live long and a healthy life, incorporating intermittent fasting is a really good way to look at
All right, all right, all right. So, our health tip is already exhausted. Intermittent fasting this week. Would you want to use this opportunity to just talk a little bit about that what you're doing on your channel this
it.
week?
Yeah, so for the next 1 month, I know there have been a lot of fasting going around at the beginning of the year because most people are believers and your churches have hosted fasting. And like you said, we're coming out of our 2 weeks of fasting. But this time around, we are doing a 16-8 fasting challenge. And what is a 16-8? That means you fast for 16 hours and you eat within an 8-hour window. And we said the rules include no snacking. So at the end of the day, I'm expecting that people who are going to engage in this kind of lifestyle, you're not going to eat your first meal of the day starting tomorrow until noon. And then when you eat your first meal at noon, the next meal of the day, you're going to eat it before 8 p.m. so that you'll be able to go without food for 16 hours until the following day at noon. I think it's pretty easy. It's one of the easiest type of fasting to start. And like people who are trying to incorporate intermittent fasting, that is one of the easiest way to go. So we are doing it as a community for 30 days, and I'm hoping that at the end, it's going to be lifestyle for a lot of people because most of our community, I know people talk to me, pre-diabetes is pretty up there, and we are hoping that this will help to reverse some of these conditions.
Wow, 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 wow. So, basically, you're starting this week, right?
Yes. We're going
Monday.
23rd, yes, tomorrow, Monday, to the 1st of February, 21st. So it's 30 days because we're trying to make a lifestyle. People say, Salome is a lot. I said, by 2 weeks, you will love it. And you might even go longer. Yeah,
All right.
yeah, yeah.
And I know it's intermittent, so maybe I missed it if you said it. Can you repeat if you said it? From what time blocks are you not eating? I know
So I'm
I saw
hoping.
on your site 16 to 8. Somebody was actually asking me today, what does it mean? I told them to watch this show because you're going to explain. Yeah.
16 means we are
Mhm.
fasting for 16 hours and we are eating within an 8 hour window. So the window that I'm hoping that we eat within will be from 12 noon to 8 p.m. You should finish your meal for the day. And I said no snacking because some people do think that when you say an 8 hour window, they could be eating every kind of hour through those 8 hours. So I'm hoping that you eat at noon, eat everything that you want to eat. If you want to, anything that you want to eat, you eat it at that time. And then later on by 7 p.m. to you have the next meal. So 2 meals every day, no snack. And the first week, I said no carbohydrate, and people were like, "Oh my god!" I say, "Yeah, I want you to ramp up on your vegetable this first week." And there are ideas out there on NutraWellness.com for a guide if you need help with that. Yeah.
I see. I see. I see. All right. That sounds like a great program that we can all benefit from. And again, the benefits are huge. It's not
Definitely.
that we just want to, starve anybody, but scientifically, the benefits are there. You can Google, you can go anywhere, and you can find tons of information about the benefits of intermittent fasting. Now, if you have a coach who is going to monitor your progress and suggest to you what to do each day, I think it's even easier. So, I want you to after this show, make sure you go to Ezra Wellness. They have a website also, EzraWellness.com, and you can follow through with information. If you also want to hit our channel too, we can put a link there also, and probably also in the description of our video today. So you can click on it and go straight to their website and follow the progress, what you got to eat and what you shouldn't eat, and more details about it. So that's our health tip for the week. And we are going to therefore go straight into our show for today. So, yes, today we are, as she said, we are talking about something very important. Very, 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 very important. As a matter of fact, uh, I until recently I did not know how important it is to actually consider this subject, and so we definitely want to make sure that we do not lose sight of this. Our topic is protect your wealth. Now, protect your wealth. Now, this is just a thumbnail topic, but the thumbnail shortened form of the topic. How to protect your wealth um, using some other issues that we call long-term care planning, long-term care planning, and a host of other things that we can talk about, basically. So, um, just so that we can start, what is long term care is going to be our first question. And so, if you have any questions, if you have any, what do you call it, any contributions, any comments, don't hesitate to definitely put it in the chat because we want to see what you have to give also. So, we are going to hit on the questions. Both of us are going to answer some of the questions, and sometimes I'll leave her alone to talk. So, the first thing is, what is long term care? And I'll leave that question for you to answer first. When we say long term care, what do we mean?
So I would say long term care, most of the time, when we talk about long term care, people are thinking, oh, maybe somebody have to be really old before that these things happen. Anytime that you ended up with any chronic disease, that is going to prevent you from being able to take care of yourself. Most of the time, the things that we do every day, we do take it for granted because we are able to do it. Things like getting out of bed, taking a bath, eating your own food, getting from your bed to the bathroom, being able to think, like cognitively, I mean. All these things we do it simultaneously, so we don't think about them. But God forbid you end up in an accident or something that you are not able to get up your own and do these things, you are definitely going to need assistance. And if whatever condition that you end up in progress to be for long term, that means you're going to need long term care. That is one part of it. And then if God give you life, like we are all learning about health, I know for me, I'm praying and I know I'm going to live old. When we are older, we are also going to need care. Somebody might be listening to us and might say, oh, long term care, my kids are going to take care of me and all that stuff. But long term care is also a family issue because once you become older, you are not just a problem just to you, but you cannot be a whole family. Because if you have kids, you have to come up with decisions on what to do with you and things that they have to do for you when you are older. So whilst you're still young, you're still able to think for yourself. This is things that we want to bring up, especially those of us with kids and stuff. Something you want to talk about whilst we are still healthy, because this care is needed when you are not able to do six of the activities of daily living: transfer, eating, cognitive, incontinence care, and dressing and bathing. If you are not able to do two of these things, you become long term care dependent. Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. That is definitely an issue right now. Now, and as you said, most people don't think about long term care because they feel like it's for older people.
Mhm.
But then when you ask people, are you willing to die tomorrow? They say, no, I'm going to grow till I'm very old. So it
That's it.
means that definitely what that means is that long term care is for everybody. Basically, that's what that
Yeah.
means, right? It, I mean, if you are hoping to live longer, then you have to take care of when you are older, right? And the best time to actually talk about it is when you are young, because when you're
Mm-hmm.
older, your chances of being able to protect yourself diminish. And that is
Yeah.
why we actually brought it up now, because we don't want you to hit the age of 65 or 55 or 70. And as a matter of fact, what she also said, it doesn't always happen at that age. You could just be
Right.
incapacitated around age 45. If you, God forbid, you have an accident and you can lift yourself up from your bed, or you can go to the bathroom by yourself, or
Mm-hmm.
you can do any two of those activities of daily living. You can't go to, can't dress yourself and stuff happen even before you retire and get older. Then
Yeah.
definitely long-term care is something that is going to be needed. Last week, I think it was last week, when we were having a show, we I made a comment that uh, sometimes those of us from wherever, we sell our children, and it was a burst of laughter because it came out of nowhere. We didn't really plan for it. But what I meant is in this case, when people don't take care of their long-term care health, they don't plan for anything, and then they depend on their children, so the lives of their children definitely fall apart because they are waiting for their children to take care of them in every aspect of their life, whether it is financial, health, even where they will sleep and everything, because they did not plan. If you do that, if you don't plan, you are actually selling your children. And those days are long gone, because your children are going to move on. It's not back in the day when, you like you have children, a lot of children, because when you have a lot of children, they are going to take care of you. It doesn't happen anymore because these children are smart. They want to take care of their own families. They want to be. Yeah, I don't think children these days, go to school thinking that I'm going to school to be this so that I can take care of my mom when my or dad when he or she is older. No, they don't think about that. If you are lucky enough to have one kid that is going to sacrifice all their money to do that, then maybe that will be it. But it doesn't usually happen. So definitely need to talk about long-term care while we are younger. Now let's go to our next question. If
Elder, before
um,
we move on, I
yes.
want to say one more thing. Stroke.
Mhm.
Stroke is the number one cause of disability among people, younger people these days. Because these days you hear it a lot. Stroke is very common, and most people get stroke and they end up with residual, so that you are not able to work or you're not able to do anything. So as we are saying it, and you're talking about kids, the children that we are raising in this country, they go to school with the people that live in the US, the whites, and so their lifestyle is going to be like Americans. That is even more so why we need to talk about this, because we who were born in Ghana, we know we have to take care of our parents, but our kids are not going to do it. Because I know my son already told us he will put us in a nursing home. He said it already. So I know that he's honest. And you cannot blame him, because think
Yeah.
about it. If you have his family, he's not
Mhm.
going to put me in his house to take care of him. So at the end of the day, I just want us to consider this, especially those of us coming from the diaspora, thinking that we took care of our parents, so they have to do it. They don't have to.
They don't have to. They don't have to.
Yeah.
If they do it, it's out of their own free will. But then
Ah,
I think we're going to get to an interesting part, because much as they may want to, they probably can't even afford it, right?
that's it.
That that is the problem. So that's why we have to plan for long term care. All right. So our next question is, what is the potential financial impact on long term care on your wealth? What is the potential financial impact of long term care on wealth? So you can start with that, and I will come in.
One thing that we say is that, especially when it comes to women, they will say that about 8 out of 10 women provide long term care for their elderly parent. And they do these things for free, because at the end of the day, they think that it's their responsibility to do it. And this statistics is in this country, 8 out of 10. They do that. And the issue is that when you have a daughter who have to cut down her hours from work to take care of you, one, it impacts her financial future. So it's not even just the wealth of the person who is sick. It becomes the wealth of the whole family, because the daughter have to cut down the time to come and take care of you, or let's say a son, or they have to take turns. So everybody's wealth is going to be impacted in a way. And then you, the person who is sick, long term, let's say you were able to save money for your retirement. Thank God you did that. You have even $1 million for long term. Now, even a stay in a nursing home ranges from $80,000 to $120,000 for a year. So you could do the math for yourself and see how much your 1 million is going to last you. And this 1 million that you've saved, depending on where you saved it, is it a 401k money? That means you haven't paid taxes yet, traditional. If it's Roth and you've paid taxes, that means all this money have to go towards your care before the government will come in. So at the end of the day, you will end up using all the money that you saved for that you thought that you were going to use for retirement just to pay for your long-term care. So the wealth impact is huge. The financial impact is huge. You will not be able to leave any money for your grandkids or anybody, because once you become incapacitated in any shape or form, or let's say you're older, it's so easy to wipe out your asset just providing long-term care. So even if it's 100,000 a year, we're talking of 1 million. That is how many years? 10 years, right, Doc?
Mm-hmm.
And then that is excluding your living expenses. So that means it's not going to take you 10 years, the $1 million, because it's the same money that you're going to use for all other expenses around the house, because you get a little bit of social security. That is when we are going to be able to get some of it from the way
And that
things
is
are.
if you have, that is if you are able to save $1 million. You are saying it as if the $1 million is automatic,
It's
but
so easy to
let's
save, huh?
that is if you have the $1 million in the bank to
That
take
is
care
the
of you.
thing.
That
Yeah.
is the thing. All right. Yeah. So and I agree definitely with that assessment, because it is not an easy thing. I know you and I are both licensed in providing long-term care health services, and during our training, we remember how much cost that is.
Mhm.
I mean, if you do the math, she talked about the bulk pack that's like a 125 to 185 or whatever that number was. But if you consider even the daily expenditure, this daily,
Mhm.
even if it's $50 a day, let's bring it down for somebody to take care of you. That is not an easy thing. That's
No.
not an easy thing. And remember, if you are thinking about being wealthy, you don't want to use all the money that you may have saved on your own care when your children are there. You know, children, your grandchildren at that time may be looking up to you for something, for some inheritance. And sadly, some families have had to, you know, you know, if I should say it correctly, you know, try to wish that their parents were gone because they want their
Yeah,
parents to go quickly. That way, the
yeah.
money will be saved for them. Because
Mm-hmm.
long as they live, they are using all their savings to take care of them in long-term care, facility or institution. How sad it would be for your kids to wish that you are gone because you're using all the money. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness,
Mm.
that is a sad thing, but it is
Yeah,
happening, right? Am
it
I right?
is.
You are
Those
in a
of us
nursing
who
facility.
work in that environment, we
Hmm.
see it all the time because I remember when I was at one with a company in West Hartford, there was this man, he lived long, over 100.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm telling you, get to a point that the children did not want him to take a flu shot. They wouldn't let him take any vaccine
My
because they
goodness,
said that he was living too long,
my goodness.
because he was a private pay, because where he had money. So because of that, I know we're going to get to that. I don't want to jump ahead of myself. But because of that, the government won't come in. So the daughters wish that he was dead. And it's real. And it
My
happens.
goodness, how sad.
Yeah.
How sad. This doesn't deserve a clap, but that's all I
No.
got now.
I know that. Exactly. Because
It
at
is-
the end of the day, this man who worked all his life, he saved this money. He saved this money, but the daughters want him dead. Because now he's spending all the money on long term
spending all
care.
the money that he has saved. And so the family wants him gone, and
Unfortunately.
that's a sad state of affairs just because of how much it costs, to take care of somebody in a nursing home
Yeah.
or in a group home or wherever you end up being. But we don't think about it. Right now is the money now. Let's make the money. Let's save. And you save, and long-term care takes everything out of you. So
Yeah.
that is a huge impact on your wealth. If you want to leave wealth for your kids or for your children or for your grandparents, you got to start thinking about long-term care health now. Or unless you think you're not going to live long, which I think we all want to. And so as long as you want it, just get yourself protected, right? That is the
Yes.
key. All right. All right. So we're going to go into our next question, and hopefully we'll delve into that one too. So the next one is, how can insurance and planning be used to protect your wealth? How can we use insurance and planning? You can take that first too.
So what I would say is that these days, thank God, as we are learning, those of us who entered into the health industry, as when we came, like you were pharmacists, nurse, we did not know how these are working. But thank God now our eyes have been open. We are getting licensed around these industries also, just to see what else is out there. So that is
Mhm.
why now we are bringing in this awareness as we've learned them. Because now, as we've learned, there are insurance that you could purchase. I know we always look at car insurance, home insurance, renters insurance. These are all good insurance that we have to get. For home and car, it's mandated. So you have to get
Mhm.
it. But long-term care, nobody might talk about it. Probably might not, you have not even heard about it, but there is insurance that you could purchase that in case you need long-term care, you could use it. And the beauty about some of these products is that some of them, if you, let's say you never happen to use long term, the money will still be able to go to your kids, or you could use the money anyhow you want it if you never happen to need long term care. So that is the beauty about it. Once you get it and you need long term care, it will be there. And once you don't use it, you will be able to get your money back. And the beauty about these products is that some of them, you don't even have to necessarily be in a nursing home for them to pay you. You could be in your own home, get somebody to come over, take care of you, and then they are going to pay the money directly to you. So even if you have a daughter who have to cut down her work to take care of you at that time, you will be able to pay them because the money will be coming to you. So there are products out there that you could look into it to get it for the future protection.
All right. All right. So definitely very important to do insurance. Now, last week we were talking about, we started last week on the use of insurance to protect your wealth, and we did health insurance. Now, it is insurance basically, as a reminder to those who are not here. Basically, insurance is gathering your risk and letting somebody else take care and manage your risk for you. It's a risk sharing idea. So if you know that it is possible that you are going to grow older, which most people want to, and especially right, most people want to. It's not like we're not making anything up. Most people want to make to grow older, and then the best way to sort of tackle your long term care needs is to have insurance, because whatever you pay may not be enough to take care of you when you are older. But because the insurance company is pulling resources from everybody, those who live longer are going to be able to get the care that they need. And if you have insurance, trust me, whatever else you save for yourself will be there for your children. And that is the key here. If you want to leave a legacy, we had a show last time where we talked about living a legacy. We don't want to be like some of us, some of our parents, all they did for us. I mean, granted, they didn't have the opportunities we have, you know,
That's it.
exactly. They did not have the opportunities we have. And they were happy to just take us to school and educate us. And then
That's
once you are there, you got to do more. You can't just send your kids to school, put a roof on their heads until they are 18 and kick them out of the house. That is not enough. That is what some of that is the poor man's mentality, right? So the least we could do, right? The least we could do is to basically just provide care for ourselves so that whatever little money that we get, we can leave there to our children so that they can enjoy it. So that the kids will not pray that you die quick because you're using all your wealth. If you have long term care insurance, they are going to not basically care. They are going to be sad that you are leaving because while you are there, you're not using their money, first of all, and you're not using your own money that you have saved. So they will pray that mommy and dad will be around forever. But if you don't have the money, you become a burden. You become a burden to them. And I think that is what we are trying to avoid. We don't want anybody to be a burden to their children or even to their children's children. And the
yeah.
only way we can do that is to get the insurance. So the long-term care insurance is one easy way, and the cost is it's amazing how cheap it is because the insurance obviously the insurance company knows that a lot of people are going to get it, and most people will not live long enough. So the coverage that they may provide may be like tops maybe 5 years. On average, it's 2.5 to 3 years that people really need to be taken care of. And so it's cheap. But if you don't have it and it has to be from your own money, that is where problems come. That is where people begin to have the problems with families that want to take care, of that want their loved ones to depart because, yes, because you're using up your money. So definitely insurance is an easy way. What other ways can you mention apart from insurance? Obviously, we said that people can save for themselves, which is another thing. But apart from insurance and saving your own money, which I think is not the best, what do you have any other ideas to share on that?
The only other way that I would say is that, let's say you have a business and you also want to invest in some real estate and some properties that you want to just put money in them and see that in the future you're going to use these for long-term care. That is also another way that you could save for it. And there is, and when it comes to the insurance, let's say you don't even want to buy long-term insurance, you could buy other life insurance that you could put a long-term care on as a rider. And in that way, it becomes even much cheaper. If you just don't want to purchase just the long-term care by itself, you could get it with some life insurance products so that at least you have one in like a three-in-one package that you have everything in there. Once you don't use it, then definitely the money goes to your heir once you're no more there. Yeah. But I love the product that you could get your money back. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. That's important. That is definitely important. Yeah. So there are other products. I've also heard about people doing reverse mortgages, but then again, if you're doing a reverse mortgage,
Yeah.
you're reversing your mortgage, right? So you're basically selling your property to
You
the
are
bank, you know,
directly.
indirectly, unless you have already bought multiple properties for your kids. and so you
Yes.
want to use one to take care of you, which most of us haven't. So if you use that, that is not something that we are going to encourage. But we know it's there. People can do reverse mortgages to sort of finance their care, uh, and, uh, and again, if you do that, your kids will pray that you go quick because you take all the equity.
And the other one, you see, and those are when the sad part of those kind of plans is that, especially when you're a couple,
Hmm.
you don't really want to use your mortgage because probably, most of the time in marriages, the men are a little bit older than the women. So let's say it's your husband that needs the care and you do reverse mortgage, then what happens to your wife?
Mm.
That is the thing. So most of the time, that is the issue. When you are a couple, it becomes even more complicated when one need long-term care and the other one don't. So at the end of the day, you really want to shift the risk to the insurance company if you can. I think that is one of the smartest way to go about it. I know most of us will say, I don't believe insurance. And I say, insurance is not a religion for you to believe. When you need it, you
Wow, I
can't
like
get it.
that. It's not a religion, right? So if whatever religion you are, just
You
keep
don't
it.
have to
This is not
believe
a
it.
religion.
You don't
This
have
is a
to believe it.
financial tool.
That's it. It's a financial
Hmm.
tool that we need, and you don't have to believe it. But the time that you will be there in the home that needing care, you might say, "Oh my God, Adelson was talking about this with Salome some time ago. I should have bought it." Then you cannot get it at the time.
And it'll be too late because you're already sick. Nobody will insure you.
So
Definitely.
we say that we try, and this is all ways that we're saving money. So
Hmm.
it's helping us to save. At the end of the day, once you get these products, because most of the time when you say you're going to save yourself, you will never save it. But once you purchase the product, you'll be forced to pay it so that you don't lose the money that you've already put in into it. So it's just a way that helps us to save. I say that. Yep.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. The other thing is, um, there are some people rely on the government for insurance protection. So they'll be like, what about Medicaid? Already I have Medicaid. Will Medicaid do it? Or what
You
about
will get
Medicare? They start from Medicare and then to Medicaid. Do you want to expound on that a little bit for those who rely on government provided insurance to see how that affects your wealth in with long term care? Yes.
okay. So one thing that I want to make clear is that Medicare is an insurance for people over the age of 65. So once you turn 65, you get all the paperwork to fill and apply for Medicare. And one thing we want to make clear here on this platform today is that Medicare does not pay for long term care. People have to get that straight because people think that, oh, Medicare, no, Medicare doesn't pay for long term. The only time Medicare will pay for you to be in a skilled nursing facility is when you need rehab. And that one, you should have a 3-day qualified stay in the hospital before your Medicare will kick in. So if you are age 65 and older, and I know Medicare is also for people with renal failure, I think those
Hmm.
people also get Medicare.
Yes.
And if you are age, so but we want to focus on age 65 and older in here because we are talking about long-term care. So age 65 and older, you are sick, you go to the hospital, you have to stay for 3 days. And once you stay for 3 days in the hospital, your Medicare coverage kick in. And when it kick in, let's say you stay in the hospital after the 3 days, they will send you to a rehab to get stronger so that you could go back home. Whilst you are at the rehab getting stronger, that is when Medicare will pay. But Medicare actually pay for the first 20 days 100%.
Mm.
And you'll be able to live in a nursing home for 100 days using your Medicare coverage. So the first 20 days, 100% covered by Medicare. But then the next 80 days, you have to pay copay. That is
Hmm.
why when you turn 65 and you get Medicare, they tell you that you need Medigap insurance, that you have to pay premiums for that. Because the Medigap insurance have to pay for whatever Medicare do not cover. So those are the things with that. So Medicare, get it straight, will not pay for your long-term care. It will pay for you to be in a nursing home where you need skilled rehab. It would also pay for nurses to come to your home, for physical therapy to come to your home. That is after your rehab stay, and
Hmm.
you still continue to need rehab maybe in your home to navigate around your house. They will
Hmm.
also pay for them to come out and then see you. So that is what to do with Medicare. Then we go to Medicaid, as the name end at the end, is help for people that are in need. So Medicaid is normally for low income earners. So somebody is listening to us, they've heard that, oh, in this country, there is ways that you could hide your asset from the government and get Medicaid. My dear, it's such a hassle to go through that, because immediately you apply for Medicaid, they are going to look at all your checkbooks. At least for the past 5 to 10 years, they would assign a special worker for your case. They're going to look through all your books and make sure you haven't given out money to people, so that in order to become poor, because I think you have to have less than $2,000 in your account to be able to qualify for the Medicaid. So because of that, people will say, oh, I'll give out my assets and stuff. And there are rules that when you are still alive, they might not go after your family members that you gave money to. But when you die, it's called repossession. The government will go back and repossess. And you just don't even want to think about
You don't want to
Medicaid.
try it.
You don't want to try it, because
Mhm.
you cannot hide it. Because you see, people say 5 years. But when I read that 7 years, if you give
Mhm.
somebody a big check, and that is
Yeah, it's
suspicious.
7.
7, they will go back. Once you're alive, they won't say anything. But immediately you die and you took government money, they will send a check to that your daughter. Hey, bring that 25,000 to come and pay mom's care.
Hmm.
So with Medicaid, that is what it is. Let's say you are really poor, you're not able to save, and you qualify to be on Medicaid. These are some of the things that you have to have at the back of your mind. You would not be able to have a choice in a nursing home where they will place you.
Hmm.
Definitely, the ones that they will place you could be very far from where you live, where your kids live. That is what is open. You will not have a choice over who your roommates will be in the Medicaid. And let's say that you will definitely not have any say in your care. The government is going to decide on what to do with you. Let's put it that way. I think that will cover all of that.
Exactly, exactly. And just imagine if you don't have anything and you're dependent on the government, you're not
Yeah.
going to get the best of care. Basically,
No.
not only do you not get, decision making opportunities, but you don't get the best care. But if you took a long-term care insurance policy, especially as a rider on a life insurance policy, you may be paying like what, only $20 a month. Some people 20, some 10, depending on what kind of life insurance and what kind of benefit you want from your long-term care policy. And all that it takes is, if you lose the activities of daily living, like we said earlier, two of them, you qualify, and you decide, hey, I don't want this place, I want this place. Where to go? And if you want to stay home and have people come, depending on
Yeah.
how you structured your policy, they will come and take care of you while you're home, and you are not spending any money from your savings. You don't have to lie and give any money to anybody before all that happens, all because you planned ahead of time and you protected yourself. And that is the essence of our show today. We don't want people to just go through life and making the money and just spending it, not thinking about the future. Because we at this channel, and also obviously at Ezra Wellness, when we say we want you to feel better and live better, we talk about the entirety of your life, not just when you are young, but when you are old, you still got to be protected. All right. So now let's see if we can go to our next question. And I will say it is, because of time, we're going to run through a little bit. What what are the roles, of programs like Medicaid? Oh, we already answered that.
I did
So,
that.
yeah, I didn't know we had that. We had that already done. So, let's see if there's any other questions that we can answer. And what strategies are there to preserve and pass on wealth to future generations? What are the strategies? And we can use long term care as one, but we can obviously branch into life insurance and other things. We know next year we're going to talk about life insurance. But yes, what strategies do you have?
So, like we said, maybe you're listening to us, and I will say longevity is a risk multiplier. We say that because once you live long, every risk become multiplied. Because that is when you stand a risk of losing your money. You stand a risk of becoming dependent. And now the studies show that women, if you are married And the men, if you are married, you're going to live 10 years longer than somebody who is single. So those
Mm.
of us that are married, we even have to plan even more because we are going to live longer compared to single people. So, with that said, since we are two people, when we are planning, I always want us to think about our partners. Because when,
Yep.
let's say, you want to go on Medicaid, or let's say something happened to you and your partner have to end up in a nursing home, what is
Hmm.
going to happen is that there is a way that they're going to divide your assets so that the one living in the community will have some of it and the one living at home will also have some of it. So there's so many things that goes on over there. So when we are really looking at the best ways to preserve the wealth, I know there are ways we talk about do using housing system, having your own business. But when we talk about insurance, especially life insurance, is one of the easiest way that you could preserve your wealth and move it on to the next generation. And like I said, it's not a religion. You don't have to believe it. You just need to get it because it's necessary. And I was talking to a brother at church the other night. I was explaining to him, I said, I know people think that, oh, when I die, the church will take care of me. When I die, I will. You will not have a funeral in this country and make, let's say, $50,000 of donation. Even if you do, and you have three kids who still need to go to college, think about it. You'll not be able to take care of that. You might be saying, I know if your partner die, no amount of money is going to bring them back. But at the end of the day, it's going to make the grieving process easier. You'll be able to take your time if you decide that you want to stay home for a while before you go back to work. You want to take care of the kids before you go back to work. You might be thinking, I don't have money. But I'm telling you, if these things happen, it's more expensive than what you would have paid for these policies. So let's use that to save for the future. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. That is very important that we talk about. Use insurance to
Yeah.
protect and preserve your
Yeah.
wealth, and then to be able to what pass it on. Because even without insurance, your estate, especially without life insurance, taxes on your estate if you have money are also huge, and that's going to
Yeah.
also bring its own disadvantages. So, in order for us to be able to preserve our wealth, to be able to pass it on, I don't think like, and I like the way you put it. The, life insurance or insurance is not a religion.
It's
Nobody's
not.
trying.
Because
I like that.
like most people say, I don't believe it. It's not a religion so that you believe in it. Think about it. Get on the highway right now, spin around, you're in an accident, and call Allstate. Allstate, I got into an accident. Can you insure me? No. Nobody will insure you.
They won't do that.
Because that's it. The time that you need it, you can't get it. That is why you get it when you don't think you don't need it. Because you never know when you're going to need it. And these days, the insurance that are out there, the beauty about it is that you just don't have to die only to benefit from it. We're
Right.
talking about this long-term care. God forbid, if you end up with any chronic critical illness like a stroke, like a heart attack, then you have to stay home to recuperate. And you don't have disability at work. Some of these policies will cover you whilst you are in those kind of situations. So that is what even make it more lucrative that we get them because it's not just for death. It's all also for sicknesses. We talk about long-term care today. Conditions like that, you'll be able to access your policy. So please, let's take advantage of that. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Now, it's very important that we definitely do that because sometimes when you are speaking about stuff like this, it looks far fetched. It looks
Yeah.
far fetched. But just yesterday, in my other job, I was going to give a shot, and I just because we recently did our training and licensing for these products, insurance and stuff like that. So it's fresh in my mind. We talk about disability insurance, talk about long-term care health insurance, long-term care insurance, and life insurance and stuff like that. This person that was getting this service could not walk themselves to the place where they had to get a shot. So it just came to
Wow.
me, hey, this is the thing we are talking about. Somebody had to bring them from home, push them, through this wheelchair, just to make sure. And this is not an old person. I'm talking about somebody in their 50s.
Yeah.
and a young lady in their 50s. So the question is, if this person had an insurance policy there, especially if they got it earlier on in their life, they would be paying very little. This
Mm-hmm.
is where the help would come from, whether it's for their income that they want, or the care and the health care that they are receiving, or even the other living benefits that they could get, including the long-term care, including health insurance and everything that goes with it. So you cannot beat insurance. You cannot beat life insurance. You cannot beat long-term care insurance. You cannot beat insurance, period. If you have doubts about getting protected, if you have doubts about insurance companies making money, that is their business. They have to make money. So don't be like, well, yeah, right. They have to make money. That's how they exist. They invest your money in order to make money. So you will see, we are an insurance state in Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
And big insurance companies, originated from this state. They own all the big, huge real estate. The skyscrapers here and there. Most of them are owned by insurance companies and other financial institutions. Why? Because they're investing other people's money and they continue to make the money, and they make sure that they pay the claims when necessary. If you have doubts about insurance company paying your claims and stuff, you can research before you do it. And if you trust your agent, you know they can take care of you. So don't blame the fact that they are making money. Well, if you need the money that they are making, they will use the same money to pay for the services that you're looking for, whether it's life insurance when you're not there, or it is annuities to provide incomes for you when you are getting older. Some of these companies even run their own 401ks, but the best products out there are all with these big financial institutions. So I like
Yeah.
that's what I'm taking from this meeting. It is not a religion. I'm
No,
not
it's
if
not.
I, it's not. So if somebody is telling you about yeah, if somebody is telling you or trying to convince you to buy an
Yeah.
insurance, in fact, just listen. If anything, just listen and don't say that I don't believe it, because whether you believe it or not, that's how the world runs. And rich
That's,
people are making money. Rich people, we're talking about. I'm saying we're going to talk about more of this in a future show. But people investing in what we call index universal life insurance (IULs) and making money while on Earth. They put in huge sums of money while they are alive. At a few years interval, and that money growing and giving them income while they are here, because they can take huge sums of money out and also using it to protect their taxes, their state, and all that. So definitely, let's take care of ourselves and make sure that we provide all that we need to be able to pass on, uh, what we call wealth to
yeah.
the generations that are looking
That's
up to us. It will be sad to see that you lived all these, you know all this beautiful life and could not leave anything, when all you could have just done is to buy insurance, whether it's long-term care to protect yourself, not become a burden to your kids, and your kids being being tired of you because you are using up all your money, or even the care because they cannot afford to take care of you. They have to take you into their own homes and constantly take care of you, leaving their jobs. They are going to be tired of you. And that is a sad, I can't imagine, your own loving blood trying to wish that you are gone because you are wasting their time and you're
yeah.
wasting their money. And the only thing you just have to do is to buy long term care insurance. And even if you could add life insurance to protect yourself and to leave something for them, so they will be happy to have you around for the longest. And I think that is a very that's the most important thing. They have to be happy
It
to
is.
have
You
you.
see,
Yeah.
it's like we always think about it. Car insurance in Connecticut, I know some states it's not forced that you get it, but here you are mandated to get the car insurance. Home insurance, if you don't get it, you'll not even get the mortgage. We are mandated to get it. So even if we just take these two insurance, it's protecting items. So you
Hmm.
think about it, you that is living in that house, in the car, who is bringing in all the money to take care of everything.
Mm,
You don't think your life and your health need to be protected?
Exactly.
Definitely. And the only
Mhm.
reason why they don't talk about it because that is the only way you could also give your kids tax-free money. Tax-free. So let's say you purchase $1 million term policy and you die and your children get $1 million tax-free.
Tax
In
free.
the
Yeah,
US, oh my goodness, that is huge.
that is
And
huge.
let's say you get sick, you'll be able to live on some of that money too. So it's like a win-win for everybody.
It's a
Yeah.
win-win. It is hard to pay.
Yeah.
It's hard to pay, but like everything, if you are planning, you make it work for you, and your children
That's
are going to reap the benefits. I wish, I don't know about you, but I wish when my father was gone, somebody called me and said that, hey, your dad has $2 million policy. Come and
Dog, you're talking about 2 million. Let's say even 100,000 for you and your
I
sisters to
know,
split. That would
I
have
know
even been so beautiful. You see, but
exactly.
these are the things that we don't talk about. So at the end of the day, we think that somebody have to take care of me when I also die. Oh, because we go to funerals and they contribute money, it's not going to be enough. It's
No, no,
not.
no,
Because remember, you have two incomes. So if one person is not there, now you end up with one income. Do you want your family to live in the same house when you are not here?
hmm.
Or you want them to move out and move into an apartment when you die because your wife cannot afford to put your kids in where you're living? Just think about it.
Or your
It's,
husband cannot do that.
your husband cannot afford
You
to
got to be
live.
back and forth because the wives can go first too. So both of us, both the wives and the
You
husbands
see what I'm saying?
need the
So at the
insurance.
end of the day, for us to maintain our current lifestyle, you need, please, when you don't have insurance, I think it's being selfish, honestly. Especially when you have
Right.
family, you need to have insurance. It's a no-brainer. We need
No
to.
brainer.
That is the only way our communities will also be rich.
Right.
Because that is why, yeah,
Other communities have been using that for a long time, but we didn't know.
long,
So yeah.
aha. So they are rich, they're able to pass on wealth to their grandkids.
Hmm.
Grandma want to leave 60,000 for all the grandkids. She buy life insurance and put
Hmm.
the $60,000 and it becomes 200,000.
Right.
See? Aha. But you cannot save and save. I know I will say this before we move on to the next question. As believers, we love the story of Joseph a lot. All the time we talk about Joseph. And most of
Hmm.
the time we jump and go to Joseph or from prison to glory. But one thing that I wanted to look at Joseph's story this evening is that Joseph, when he told Pharaoh, he says, "Oh, king, we need to save once we have the bumper harvest." And the beauty about what Joseph did was Joseph did not just save for what Egypt could eat. Bible says that he stored so much that people came from other places to come and buy. So what we are saying is that you don't have to just save for you. Think about other people. We belong to an organization, churches that you could bless when you are no longer here. These are all ways that you could give money to them. So this evening, when you're looking at us and listening to us, please remember Joseph saved. So as we are eating, whilst we are healthy and we are working, we need to save some. And these are the areas that we could save them. And insurance too is one of the place. Uh-huh.
Wow, 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 wow. That is very interesting thing you chipped in there, and I
Yeah,
like the fact that you said that he did not just save enough for the
he
people
did.
that he
He
was
was
trying to
just
help.
needed. Mhm.
Yeah, he saved enough. That's what insurance is. Yeah, he
That's it.
saved enough to cover a lot more people. And
Everybody.
everybody, people travel from their countries to go just to make sure that they get something because
Yeah.
somebody took an insurance
Yeah.
on the nation. Somebody took
Initiative.
an insurance on the nation. And it doesn't matter how much you can save in cash in the bank, it is
Mhm.
limited. But if
It
you
is.
invest it in a reputable insurance instrument, you know, it will grow faster because insurance company is using your money and they promise you higher rate of return compared to
Yeah.
what the savings account will give you, like 1% or 0.25% here and there. Insurance companies, depending on the kind of product you choose. But, we don't want to belabor that fact so long.
The
I
insurance will
think,
come next week.
I think next week we are going to delve deeper into it. Some of the
Yeah.
products that you can use to actually, increase and improve your wealth and also pass on generational wealth. And it's been an interesting discussion. Let's see if I think we have one last
Okay.
question. Our last question here is: how do you have conversations with loved ones about long-term care? What is the conversation starter? Do you talk to them about where you want to spend your adult life? I mean, your senior citizen life. How do you start that conversation? Yes, let's do that, and then we wrap up.
So it's just like that we're talking about life insurance. I know we talked about it a little bit in this last few minutes. It's something that is hard to talk about because like us, we are younger now. Nobody want to think about being older because you see older people, you kind of look at them a certain way, but we're all going to get there one day. It's the same way with the life insurance. It's very hard to talk about people's death. But let's face it, we are all going to die one day. I heard this weekend there was an older man that got hit in East Hartford and it was on the news and they were talking about it. You think this man thought that he was going to die? These days, death is, we are all bound to. We are hoping and praying that we don't. But if it do happen, it's something that we want to take care of. So what do you want to bring up is you talk to your kids. Do you want to be in Ghana when you're older? Some of these policies will pay. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. They would. Once a doctor certified that you are not capable of doing it, they need a medical doctor to sign on it. They will pay. So you're thinking, oh, I want to go and live in Ghana. Why do I have to buy long term here and go to Ghana? All these policies, they will pay. It doesn't matter where you are. So you want to look into it and see those that could do that. You want to be in the US when you are older. You want to be in your own home. Are you going to be in a nursing home? And if you want to be in an assisted living, you need to have so much money in assets. So that means the insurance is also a really good way of doing it. So these are things that, as we are bringing it, I think these shows will be a good place to start. Oh, did you watch Adulting and Salome talking about long-term care? It's a good conversation starter. Oh, what did they talk about? And then you could bring some of these things up. If you're watching it by yourself, you could bring it with your husband and say, hey, they talk about some interesting stuff that we have not thought about it. So depending on where you want to spend your years and you're older. So at the end of the day, definitely we will all need it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. That is very true, and I think that may be our last question. Let me see. I think that is our last question. Yes. So that was our last question for the show. And I'm believing that people have taken a lot of points from what we have discussed so far. I just don't want anybody going through life and not knowing that there are these instruments, these resources that can be used to protect yourself, and we didn't know. It is good to plan for your soul. Most people are good at that. You make sure you are saved. You go to church. You do all those things. But as we always say on this show, we say, beloved or dear friend, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, even as your soul is doing well, even as your soul is prospering. So much as God is interested in you going to heaven at some point, He is interested in you doing well here and leaving a better legacy than what your parents left for you. And for some of us, all we need is to buy a little bit of insurance here or there. Not be like other people who have no knowledge. In the past, they didn't know, but now, where we are now, we have known. We are definitely aware of what people are doing, how people are getting wealthy with products like life insurance, long-term care insurance, and all those good stuff. Just remember, in your old age, when you are needing help, you are needing somebody to take care of you. Wouldn't it be nice to say that it's for my own money than to be begging
Yeah.
around people? Yeah, it's. I mean, I see some old people who come to my practice site, and you can tell they are proud because they made themselves worthy. I mean, to live. I don't know how to say. I don't have the right point. They really planned.
They did. They did. Like
Yeah.
we have a neighbor here that recently wasn't doing well. So the wife had died. The kids want to move him to Boston.
Hmm.
He look at me, he says, Salome, I have $1 million long-term care. This is an 80-year-old man.
See.
He was in the insurance industry. He worked for Aetna and those companies. I have $1 million long-term care, and my social security is coming in. My retirement from work is coming in. So the kids went and got him a nice place in Boston. The last time I spoke to him, he said, Salome, I'm looking over a golf course, even though I cannot go play golf. That is how where his room is. Because he
Wow.
had the money, they were able to put him in a very nice assisted living facility. These buildings are there now. Most of us work in healthcare, so we see them, but you need
Mhm.
to have the money to be admitted in them. You
Exactly.
do. His house
Exactly.
is still there. The kids are cleaning it up. They will put it on the market in the summer, but they are not in a rush to do anything because he
Hmm.
have the money already
Exactly.
taking care of him. So these are the things that we are learning. So I'm hoping that this evening you've taken something. And our community, what I say is that what we are doing right now is very important than the next thing. People will watch this show and say, "Oh, I'm going to get it," but then they will not get it until when
Hmm.
they need it. So
Until
don't
when they
wait.
need it. Yes.
Once you
Yes.
see this show and you know that you need to get something, don't wait.
Don't
Could
wait.
reach out to Elotain, reach out to me. We could talk about these things and we see if we are not able to help you directly, we'll be able to direct you to places that you could go get the best help that you need so that you'll be able to plan and get ready for the future.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Now, I think we are wrapping up right now. And so, if you are still on the live, I see some people still watching. Just make sure you share it before we close, because this is important. This is important for especially if you are an adult. If I know these products work for younger people. In fact, it is better when you get them young because
Yeah.
in that case it is so cheap. But if you wait till you are 60s,
Older.
they will charge you higher because you have to use a shorter period of time to pay what they need you to pay. So if you hear it, if you're hearing us today, today is the day. And like she said, we are both certified to be able to link you to the right places if you want to be insured. So hit me up on the either comments section or just go to, if you want to see, we have here, if you go to YouTube and you search at DROTENG, it will bring Dayspeak Life and Health channel, and you can either go to the comment and say, "Hey, call me," or let me chat, give me your email, and whatever it is, we can start that. And also, if you go to the thumbnail, that is the first screen that you click to show that to come to the show. I also have Ezra Wellness also there, and the same way. I think it is also Ezra Wellness 4459 something like that. I don't want to say the number wrong, but you can also look at it and also contact sister if you need assistance. But definitely make sure that you get something out of this because people are going to depend on you. People are actually depending on you right now. And I'm hoping that you protect yourself. And so this is where we bring the show to close. Unless you have a closing remark, did you want to say something?
One thing I want to say is that there is this website that I
Mm-hmm.
want people who are watching us to check it out. It's a website where we have, it was funny when I found that. It's called missingmoney.com. Then we have monies that has been unclaimed. So let's say you were living in an apartment and you moved out, and for some reason somebody sent a check to that apartment and
Mm-hmm.
they don't find you, that check will go to the government. So there is this website that a friend showed me. When you go there and put your previous address in, you'll be able to find any money that is missing that you could claim. And that website is www.missingmoney.com. www.missingmoney.com. Check it out. Put in your previous address and you'll be able to find if you have any money there that you need to claim.
So that is just one word, right? Missing money
Yes.
is one word, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I put it on the channel right now on the screen. So if you wanna
Because I see people
just
are on their life so that they could benefit from it.
yes, definitely,
So
definitely.
that are watching
And
us today.
if you get something, don't forget to use it.
Yeah,
Pay your tithes and the rest use it as your first premium for either your life insurance or your
that's
long-term care
right.
insurance, right? That is what we
Yes.
want you to get. And that is very important that we know that. All right, because procrastination is something that can steal all that you don't want to happen, steal your money. So definitely do that. And
Yeah.
until we see you again, we say, beloved, we wish
Yeah.
above all things that you prosper and be in
Mhm.
health. even as your soul is prospering.